I'll give it just another, maybe half a minute. Dr. Revis is having internet problems. I was seeing if she was going to be able to get in yet before I got started. Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. Revis is, she'll join us when she can get something figured out, even if she has to get on her phone and join us. But anyway, welcome to week 8. And those of you that were able to join us, and I think most of you did, thank you for joining us for the town hall on Monday evening. That the whole purpose of that was really just to give you just a very, very brief understanding of what we were fixing to start with the AAPTEL, and just to bring basically closure to the AAPTEL. I will tell you that I'm very pleased with. I have not been able to look at all of Dr. Revis's classes, but I will say for my 2 classes, very, very pleased with the scores for the AAPTEL. Like I said, great results. And Dr. Revis has said that, that there's still some work out there, but for the most part, I think hers has come in. There she is, able to join us. But I think for the most part, can you hear it? Can you hear me, Dr. Revis?
I can. I'm sorry. I'm on my mobile phone, so
that's okay. I'll pull up and we'll talk from there. Okay. Whatever document
sounds good. Thank you.
Whatever documents I was just, Dr. Revis, I was just talking, just had started on the app, so just letting them know that the ones that had the grades that have come in have been good grades. We still have just a little bit out there, and just a reminder that actually you should have been completed with all work for the AAPTEL this past Sunday night. So if your work is still out there, basically, unless you've talked with Dr. Revis and me and we've asked you to review something, you're behind the 8 ball, so you need to go ahead and take care of that, because we're moving on. We're moving on with the AAPTEL, and basically the AAPTEL is going to be history at this point, unless we are working specifically with a student that we've already communicated with. So just get that work in there. I was having some dialogue with a couple of students before everybody came on, and again, I realize that you're at that point in your school year and everything else where I remember you're just tired, but just remember that you've got to get that second wind and you can't slow down at all. Actually, I would hope that at this point that you're building momentum, and that you're going to be able to move forward, and the old farmer term that I use with them, I said, you got to plow to the end of the road. You can't stop pulling in just the middle of the road. You got to plow to the end of the road. So, even though those that have ever worked on a farm, and many of you may not even know, but if you, I just remember when I cropped tobacco many, many years ago, you would be so tired by the end of the day, and you just wanted to stop, but you knew that you had to crop that tobacco road to the end of the road. So that I use that analogy to say, no matter how tired you get, there's still a job to be done. So, just figure it out. And I think most of you are figuring it out. I can see that you've worked out a routine that works with your schedule, and you've adjusted the rigor of this into your already busy life. So, I think for the most part that you're figuring it out. Dr. Revis, any comments on task 1?
Well, I was very pleased. I still have a few out there that haven't submitted, but for those who have submitted, I've been very, very pleased with the scores. The vast majority have been perfect scores, and I think that now you can see what it takes to be accomplished, and that is always our goal, is for you to be accomplished. If you fall a little short, don't get all torn up. Sometimes life happens, and if you get a 3, move on. Can't do anything about it. But I think you now know the rigor of the course. And the good thing about the AAPTEL coming up is that you only have 4 tasks instead of 5. So that's a little bit less work. I'm not saying that the tasks themselves are any less rigorous, but I think you are going into this now with your eyes open, and you know what to expect. So I'm looking forward to everybody ending up strong here in the class. So
Okay.
With that said, Dr. Stedman, where are we on the agenda?
Well,
I was going to do the overview.
Yeah, and I was going to tell them, if for the most part, try to hold your questions to the end. I think some may have a question or two about the competency folio again, and we'll address those at the end. And then if it doesn't apply to you, that gives you an opportunity to go ahead and sign off if you don't feel like it's something that you need to have to listen to. And then I'll just give you some reminders at the very end. Dr. Revis, if I pull up a document, you'll be able to see it, right?
I will try to see that on my screen. Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to pull up that. There it is.
okay. This is just a couple slides that I developed just to give you an overview of the AAPTEL at a glance. So let's look at the next slide. And remember, you've heard me say a lot, and Dr. Stedman as well, whenever we embark on a new task, a new idea, the first thing we do is we complete the research. We gather our research. And there are 3 sources that we're going to talk about today in task 2 for your data collection. So that's in task 1, is about complete your research and identify some of the data sources that you're going to do. In task 2, you're going to actually collect that data. There's 2 different data collections. In task 3, you're going to lead a PLC to develop an action plan on teacher empowerment, and you will present that action plan to your administrator. Just like you did, the cycle is just the same that we used in the AAPTEL. And then in task 4, your competency reflections. So that's a very broad overview. And I think tonight, all we're going to talk about is task 1, correct, Dr. Stedman?
That's correct. And I'll tell you why, because on Thursday night, you're going to get fully emerged with the whole AAPTEL process. We've got a great Thursday planned out because all of you work at different paces. So this will not hold anybody back. Once we go over Thursday, if you listen well, if you are one of those that needs to move on, this will allow you to be able to move on and understand what you've got to do. Want to pull up, let me pull up the, let me pull up the template. This is the AAPTEL template. And again, just remember what you're doing with evidence 2 is an analysis and it's an action plan. You're looking at teacher empowerment and you're looking at teacher leadership. You're looking at this not from the perspective of a teacher looking at a teacher. You're looking at this from an administrator's eyes. You know, you're analyzing it and you're working with them as the leader of the school. You're going to follow the same process that you did before with evidence 1 of the AAPTEL. The only thing that you'll have on evidence 2 is your name here. The rest of it stays. Then we go into task 1, and I'm gonna leave this in just a minute because I want to go to the helpful hints document. But I want to point out again, if it's in black, it stays. If it's in yellow, remember, you're going to write something. That's where narrative work goes. And if it's in red, those are hints. Those are helpful hints for you that's built into the template. And once you read that, you just delete that red, and then you take the yellow out when you do your completed work. Now you have a template for evidence to the AAPTEL, but you do not have an AAPTEL completed example. You only get that with the AAPTEL. However, you know how to follow the process. There's not somebody else's work that you're going to be able to look at this time. You will follow the same process that you did with the AAPTEL, but you will not have a completed AAPTEL to look at. Again, follow the template as it is, as it's given. You fill in the blanks with what needs to be filled in. Now, with that in mind, I want to pull up the AAPTEL helpful hints document. And Dr. Revis, I'll start with the first part of it. I'm going to show you a completed example tonight, but you will not get a completed example of completed work. But I'm going to show you a student's work so you can see the flow of things. But then again, this is task 1. Let me come back up here. Okay, the school profile that you did in the AAPTEL, it stays the same. You will use the same school profile for all 5 evidences, and then you will use it when you compile them all at the end in 605. But this is what you're doing, as Dr. Revis said. You're beginning with a literature review. And I want you to look at this. You've got 5 headings. Your heading is building efficacy and empowerment among staff. Now, again, this is not what you think. This is not how you feel. This is what the research says. What are the best practices? What does the research say about building efficacy in your school and building empowerment among staff? What does the research say? You're going to complete your literature review with a minimum of 3 references. And again, This is APA. Now, remember what Dr. Revis and I said last week. We shouldn't see problems with in-text citations this time. So we're asking you to be very, very diligent with that. Go back and look at things because you should get this right the first time. Okay? So again, your heading is building efficacy and empowerment among staff. What does research say? The second heading is results-oriented professional development, PD. You know, and you probably have been involved in professional development. And you thought before, you know, why in the world are we in this? And you couldn't make the connection, you know, with how it even applies to what you do in the classroom or whatever. Everything that you do, what does the research say? How should, amongst the teachers at your school, what does the research say about providing professional development that's going to give you the results that you need? And ultimately, remember, it's all about the student. So ultimately, everything that you do in your staff development should reflect back to improving student achievement in your school. If efficacy is improved amongst your staff, going back to number one, then guess what? That filters over. It kind of, it's like filling the coffee cup to the brim, and then, you know, keep pouring, it pours out. It's going to pour out to the students. And so if a teacher's efficacy has been improved, if things are better with your teachers, guess what? It should improve the efficacy of your students as well. All of this aligns itself to overall school improvement. And this is how you build systemic school improvement. This is how it's not just a one-shot deal. This is how you, when you're cognizant of these things and you continue working at them, that's how you build it so that it's not a one-time deal, that you're able to grow from year to year to year with your staff and with your students, that EBOS growth that we talked about with the AAPTEL. Heading number 3, recruitment, placement, and mentoring of school staff. Remember, as a principal, your job is not to teach students. Your job is to recruit the best teachers that you can find, to place them in the places where they need to be placed, that they'll be most effective, and to mentor them and work with them. You may find one, you may hire one, and you may realize that they're not the best in the world, but they're not the worst either. And you know, right now, there's not a whole lot of extra out there to choose from. So sometimes what you have to do is say, this is what I've got. And even if it's a lemon, you got to make lemonade out of it. So you've got to figure out, as the principal of the school, you know, first of all, I've got to try to recruit the best for my school. I've got to put them where they need to be placed, that they're going to give me the be most effective. And then if they need help, I've got to be able to provide mentoring so that they can improve in areas that they need to be improved in. Again, this is not what you think. This is what the research says. What are the best practices for, as an administrator, for recruiting the best teachers, placing them where they need to be placed, and mentoring and working them so that they can grow and improve? Your fourth heading is, you're going to do a minimum of 3 references there. Your fourth heading is approaches to and for evaluation of school staff. What does the research say about evaluating teachers in an effective way that is going to bring about the positive changes that it needs to make, so that not only are you're building the efficacy and you're empowering them, but it's going to produce the results that you need to improve student achievement in your school. You know, what, as the principal, what does the research say that you need to do to effectively evaluate school staff? And again, there's lots of literature out there, but we're asking you only to, you know, a minimum of 3 references. And then finally, your heading is teacher leadership and decision making. What does the research say about teacher leadership in the school and teachers being a part of the decision making process? There's a lot of stuff out there about that now. And you need to look at, you know, who are the big people in these areas right now. You need to look for in your research, who are the best people that are providing this research and suggesting these best practices in all of these areas. This is your literature review. Now, I want you to look at this. In summary, each section will have a minimum of 3 references. So this means that for your literature review, you're going to have a total of a minimum of 15 references in this literature review. These are some researchers that should be considered in addition to others. Todd Whitaker, Linda Darling Hammond, Robert Marzano. Now these people have been around for a while, but guess what? They're the foundation. They're the impetus for growth and in all of these areas. So you start where it all started, and then you grow from that. But these are people, this is a good start. And when you find work that they've done, you will find people that have complemented the research and the work that they've done. Make sure you are following correct APA. Dr. Revis, anything you want to say about what I've just said with prompt 1?
Yes, I'd like to go back to the heading 4, approaches to and 4 evaluation. Guys, this is not describing your formal evaluation system.
Right.
What we want to see here is, what does the research say about how do you know what your teachers are doing or supposed to be doing? And don't get into your state evaluation or your district evaluation process. We want to know what the research says about how do you know that teachers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and how you best evaluate that. We should see some Marzano reference in there, because he's very, very big into teacher evaluation.
And this right here, and Dr. Revis is going to talk about this in just a second. This ties a lot into those informal walkthroughs. You know, your when you're
instructional rounds.
Right, instructional rounds. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Instructional rounds. This is not necessarily the formal observations that we're talking about. Okay, thank you, Dr. Revis, for that. Okay, let's move on to task 1 prompt. Dr. Revis.
Task 1 AAPTEL data backbone instructor.
Okay, so don't forget there are 2 prompts in this. I'm getting some background noise. I don't think it's me, but
Let me
are you hearing that?
I am. Somebody's playing a guitar.
Someone's playing a guitar. Someone's serenading.
I like the background, but we just can't use it right now. It sounded pretty. Go ahead, Dr. Revis.
Okay, so there are 2 prompts, prompt 1 and prompt 2. So some of you kind of have really strong prompt ones, and then it's like you run out of time for prompt two and you just give it a cursory glance. So be sure that when this is due, you do both prompts equally as well. So here in prompt two, you are going to create a checklist and a survey. You're just creating here. You're not administering. Okay. So let's first start with the survey. The survey is going to be about teacher perspectives on their empowerment as leaders in the school. And you can do this survey through SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, whatever you want to use. And you can pull questions from your teacher working conditions survey, your advanced ed survey or Cognia, your South Carolina Elliott, or to get this data. But remember that this has to be a research-based survey. It's not one that you're going to make up. So if I were working in North Carolina, I would go to the teacher working conditions survey and I would look at that section on teacher empowerment. And I would take those questions and I would make a survey with those questions. Okay. That's one option you can do. All right. And you're going to use this survey in task 2. All you're doing in task 1, prompt 2, is you're identifying / creating the survey. And it's a survey that you're going to give to your teachers, all teachers, not just your PLC, but you're going to have to get permission from your principal to admit, excuse me, to administer this to all teachers.
And Dr. Revis, an example of that could be like with the teacher working conditions survey, and all of you that are in North Carolina that have taken it, you know, it says, do you have, are you a part of the hiring process with teachers? Do you get to interview? You know, that could be just one of the teachers. Teachers at this school have a part of the hiring process or interviewing process for teachers, for other teachers, and you would have a rubric where they say yes or no, or you know whatever. And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a minute. But all of that, as Dr. Revis said, is built into. You don't have to create anything new. If you go to your teacher working conditions survey, or if you go in South Carolina to Cognia, all of that is already built in there for you. You just got to find it and just pull it from that. That makes it research and evidence-based because those are what the states use.
And again, let me reiterate, it's not a survey that you're going to write questions out yourself.
Right.
You either pull those questions from another type of survey, either your Cognia, Elliott, or your teacher working conditions surveys. Now, the second data instrument that you're going to develop is a checklist. So in the survey is a survey. The checklist is what you're going to use to do walkthroughs or instructional rounds. I would say most every school now has some type of walkthrough or instructional rounds checklist. If you do, or if your district has one, then use that checklist. Don't make one up, because again, that's not going to be something that is research based. But if your school district is using it, or your school is using it, it's been used enough that it's reliable and valid. Okay, so you're going to have 2 instruments, a survey and a checklist that you're actually going to use to do some walkthroughs. Okay, and I think there's just a little bit of information about the walkthrough instrument. If you already have one, use it. If you don't have one, I think if you'll scroll down just a little bit further, there are some examples, or is that in our template?
Right. And I'm going to show Racine, you have a question?
Yes, just to reiterate the teacher working conditions survey. So we're pulling that, I know from North Carolina, they have their own that they send out. Are we asking teachers to complete that now? Or are we waiting for that window to open?
No, you're not going to do a teacher working. You're going to do just a small. This should be no more than 5 to 10 prompts on whatever your survey is. There shouldn't be no more than 5 or 10, and you're extracting what you need just for this purpose only. It won't be the whole survey. It'll be just an extraction of what you need for this assignment.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, let me minimize that. I want to pull up this is what I want to pull up. Okay. This is a student, an example of a student from several years ago, but she gave her background information for her school. And then let's go prompt 1. Here we go. She gave an introduction, but now I want you to notice building efficacy and empowerment among staff. This is her first.
Bandura is one of the
Yeah.
seminal works. He has a lot of works about teacher efficacy.
Okay. Okay. Latasha, hold your thought just a minute. Results-oriented professional development. This is the second one. Again, that's your heading. This is your research. Recruitment, placement.
And that's where you would.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr.
I
Evans.
said in the results-oriented professional development, that's heavy on Linda Darling Hammond. We need to see her in that section.
See right there, Darling Hammond.
And some others, and at least 2 others.
Right. And then approaches to evaluation.
See, there's Marzano.
Mm-hmm. Teacher leadership and decision making. And those are your 5 areas. Prompt 2. After researching some of the best practices of being an educational leader, made me think of the teachers at my school. Anyway, she goes on the top. I want you to look. Here it is. Teachers are recognized as educational experts. Teachers are trusted to make professional decisions about instruction. Teachers help determine the content of in-service professional development. And again, there'll be a lot of similarities, but there can be difference in this as well. But this is, you see, this is all about teacher leadership in the school, how they feel. You know, are they empowered? Teacher performance is assessed objectively. And this is a simple yes or no. Now you're going to actually use this. Whatever you have, you've got to use it later on in another task. So whatever you build, know that you're actually going to use this. But this is what the survey, a simple survey looks like. They had 12. Yours can have 10. I've seen them with 6 in them, Dr. Revis, but they need to be a strong 6 if you have something of that nature. Now, and then again, she has some figures that that goes with. I can't see all of that, but you can okay. Our school district has it, and I was trying to come down to see. Go ahead and talk to Revis while I look for something.
Okay. while you're
Um,
finding that, now one thing that should be kind of thinking in the back of your mind, okay, I'm gonna have to get permission from my principal to administer this survey. Yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. You're going to have to design that survey instrument and get his or her permission. So I would suggest that you show them that survey pretty early on. As soon as you get it developed. Again, start with survey instruments that you've already used in your school or in your district, and you're only looking for teacher leadership and empowerment.
Okay. I was looking for the walk.
I think that's her Google form right there, isn't it?
That's it right there. That's
Yeah.
that's the survey.
That's
Now,
she used a Google form.
right. Now, again, like Dr. Reva said, most of the schools should already have some type of walkthrough instrument. You need to find out. You should know already because it should have been used. If you're in the classroom, it should have been used by administration when they went into the classroom to observe you, and you should have gotten some feedback. And if you are working in another capacity as an instructional coach, I'm sure you use them. So, whatever your district uses, then do that. And if they don't, then you'll need to create one, but you'll have to create one based on what the research says. And there are some out there. These will be this will be more explained on Thursday night, and there will be some more examples given that will help you with seeing some things that are out there. Let me see.
Well, Marzano's high yield strategies would be one of the things like Dr. Lamb talked about last night.
Yeah.
If you don't have your own school or district walkthrough, then that would be the default one there.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to, let me see if I can get this to week 8. Come on. It's not showing up. There it is. Let me come down to, let me move this over. I want to show you. When you go to, now this is under week 8. That's not what I want. Okay, let me go to the AAPTEL templated material section. Here it is. Okay, now I want you to look. We've built in here lots and lots of stuff that you can use. Just Dr. Lamb was talking about the other night, last night, his MTSS for teachers. Remember that? That's it right there. This is something about Marzano high yield strategies. We put a lot of stuff in there. Competencies, Marzano's 9 high yield instructional strategies, something else on instructional leadership team. This is information that you'll need later on. What is a needs assessment? Making teacher professional development decisions based on program effectiveness, keeping good teachers, the principal's role in those 5 topics that I just mentioned a while ago. Look, this is stuff that aligns with that. This gives you a start. 5 ways to improve teacher evaluation systems, teacher efficacy. What is it and does it matter? Teacher leadership and decision making, providing instructional leadership through classroom walkthroughs, instructional walkthrough tools, building RTI, North Carolina validity, reliability brief based on research for the teacher working condition survey. There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff here. That's a great video right there on Dr. Robert Marzano. These are things, there's South Carolina Advanced Ed Cognitive, North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey. We put these things in there. You've got a lot of stuff already in, that's in your Blackboard shell that will help you. Okay, that's not all. We just put that in there so you would have some things to help. Latasha, you had a question.
Well, I have two actually. I hope it's not crazy, but I was just gonna ask, are we able to use those resources that you're just showing us now?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I have another question. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, we're able to take our school background and use it for the AAPTEL as well?
Yes, you'll use it for every evidence that you use. The background's done the first time and you don't have to, unless you want to edit something, it's the same one every time.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But just coming back to this, you got a lot of resources that you can use that's built already into your Blackboard shell that will help you with what you need to do. I'm going to stop my share. Dr. Evans, as far as that's as far as I'm going to go with the AAPTEL, because that's enough for them to think about between now and Thursday. That gives you something to begin working with, and you know how to begin. So the research part, I don't think is going to be a problem for you. You know what to do there. You need to be thinking about the checklist, with the survey. You need to think about the survey and pulling. If you don't have it, you need to get you a copy of the Teacher Working Conditions Survey or Cognia in South Carolina. South Carolina, you could actually pull the Teacher Working Conditions Survey in North Carolina and pull your stuff from that as well. It doesn't matter. The survey's the same. I mean, it's the same, basically the same information. They just say it a different way in Cognia. And then the checklist, you need to find out, if you don't know, you need to find out from your administration, do we have an instrument for walkthrough instrument or instructional round instrument? You need to go ahead and find out if your school has one or if your district has one, and that's what you need to use. So that's where you get started. Okay, Kayla, you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to know, so what if the school doesn't have a walkthrough instrument? Where are we drawing from?
Okay, Dr. Evans, would you like to respond to that?
Right. If your school doesn't have a walkthrough instrument, then you're going to draw from Marzano's 9 high yield strategies. That becomes your walkthrough. Just, do I see this? Do I see that? Do I see? Go through all 9 of those. That's your default. Okay.
And then Kayla, we hope that it's something, if your school doesn't have one, that when you present it, that they're going to want to use it if they don't have one.
Now, remember, guys, in task 1, you're not administering surveys and you're not doing walkthroughs. You're identifying those instruments. Okay.
We have to approve them first. Right, Dr. Revis? We have to
make sure
approve
your principal. Yes. And make sure your principal approves them as well.
Right. You can't do anything without your principal's support and their permission. So, make sure that they are aware of what you're doing. Angela, you had a question?
I did, but I think you answered it where you said we can't do anything without principal permission. Do we need to show that like we did in one, like with the email, to show that we asked, could we use it to,
Or
as evidence?
or you could write it in your narrative work with the support of my principal. You know, you can just, at this point, you can say, you know, that I had my, you just need to validate that you just didn't do it on your own. Okay.
Was that a yes, that we need to get an email?
No, you don't have to, but you can, Kayla. You can, if you feel like you need to, you can, but you
Oh,
just need to you can actually put it in your narrative work with the support of
Okay.
and if it's one that your school district already has, then, you know, that's understood. That's understood. You don't have to really, you know, at this point, if it's one that they're already using, then you can put it in there. But if you have to create something that is valid and reliable, then you've got to get their permission to be able to do anything.
Do we also need to send an email requesting a permission to administer?
Not at this, not yet. We're not at
Okay.
that point yet. We'll talk to
Okay.
you about that when we get to task 2.
Okay.
You're not ready for that yet.
And guys, in prompt 2, don't just put a copy of the survey in and the copy of the walkthrough in. Just talk a little bit about it. This survey I pulled from. These questions from this survey I developed from. This is the walkthrough that my school district uses, or this is the walkthrough that my school uses, or this is the walkthrough. Since my school district doesn't use a walkthrough form, I'm going to use Marzano's high yield strategies. You give some explanation about the survey and the checklist.
You've got to provide validity and reliability for whatever you use. You've got to be able to back it up. Okay. Other questions at this point? Other questions? Okay. I think we've said enough to get them started, Dr. Revis, and we're not going to go any further. Honestly, Thursday is going to be a great session because you'll hear some of this again, but we felt like that we needed to get you at least started. You understand some of the language and terminology, so that will help tremendously with with having a better understanding of what's happening on Thursday. But we're going to take you step by step. Dr. Lamb's going to join us. He's going to talk about what we just talked about again briefly. Then Dr. Hamilton and Dr. Crawford's going to take us through task 2. Dr. Revis is going to take us through task 3, and then I'm going to bring closure with task 4 and just remind you of some things. So that's what our Thursday is going to look like. Dr. Revis, I guess just a reminder that that let me pull this up. Okay, no, I got to share first. I'm sorry. You can't see anything if I don't share. Keep forgetting. Okay. We've covered that. Let's look down here. Okay, again, the completed AAPTEL should now be cleared in task stream. If it hasn't, then you know what you've got to do, and it needs to be done yesterday. Your competency folio should be created, and the 12 competencies from the AAPTEL are to be submitted for review and approval to your clinical coach too. And that would be, if you're in Dr. Revis's 2 classes, that would be to me. If you're in my 2 classes, that would be to Dr. Revis. By Sunday, October 17th, that's not this Sunday, but next Sunday by 9:00 p.m. Then again, remember this is for review only, not evaluation, for review only. And I will have to say, Dr. Revis, I've only gotten one from your groups so far. It was from Kayla Mendoza, and I could use Kayla's work as a teaching model. They were that good. Great job, Kayla.
Yay, Kayla.
Thank you.
Your case study 1 is due to Blackboard for grade by Sunday. Several have already come in. And I will tell you, they're okay, Dr. Revis, what I've seen, but nobody's made me real happy with the case study so far. I mean, it's been okay, but I haven't been wowed. Now, I will tell you, I know it's the beginning. It's the beginning. This is your first one. When we get to the AAPTEL case study, I expect you to have grown by leaps and bounds. Now, when you get to 603, it is embedded with case studies. I mean, that is a big portion of what you do in 603. So what we're doing is introducing you to that process. So we're asking you to make sure that you know.
Dr. Sedman, you're on mute.
I've been able to hear you.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah, I'm not on mute. Okay. So just remember that make it a scholarly discussion, and you need to tie in, those things that you learn from the AAPTEL process. Tie that into your discussion more, okay? Then just remember what we've talked about, the AAPTEL task 1 that we've talked about. You've got until October 31st before that has to be finally submitted for review. If you get it done before then, you don't have to wait until then, but I'm just saying a good 2 weeks before that is due, and then your the peer reviews as well start back. And then we have the coaching session on Thursday night, and then next week we won't be coming online, but you should be doing your work alone. Don't just because we're not coming online, this gives you an opportunity to get a lot of work done, during that time.
And one of the good things is with task 1, you're doing the research yourself. You're developing and researching and putting together the checklist and survey. You're not having to pull your team together for task 1.
Right. Okay, Jennifer?
Thank you. I just have a question about due dates because I'm seeing different information on Blackboard. It says that the case study is due by the 17th, and you just said it was due
I'm sorry.
Sunday.
I'm sorry, by the 17th then.
Okay. So
Okay, the 10th, that was this past week, the 17th. Yeah. That was a typo last week, and it's still a typo this week. I apologize.
Yeah, you just gave me a heart attack. I was like, oh my gosh, I was 2 days late, and I thought I was 5 days early.
No, it's the 17th. That's a typo. Thank you, Jennifer.
Sure,
Somebody actually mentioned it last week, and I guess if they saw it, some people got it in. At least you got it over with. But anyway, it's not due until the 17th. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, Brandy. Can't hear you, Brandy.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's what I also had a question. Can you share your screen again with those due dates on there, please? The competencies, you said not this Sunday, but next Sunday, but the date says this Sunday. So I just want to make sure I have everything in on time.
No, they are due the 17th.
They are due.
They due the 17th, yes. The competencies are due the 17th.
So case study 17th, competencies 17th.
That's correct, yes.
Task 1 first turn in is
October 31st.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that again next week. The only thing, what you've got to do this week on Sunday would be your case study and your 12 competencies for your folio.
Okay.
That's what's due this week.
Okay, thank you.
Case study does not have a cover page. You don't have to do that. No. Solomon?
Yes, for the competency folio, when it comes to the artifacts that we're submitting, are you able to hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, the artifacts that we're submitting, are pictures okay for that, or should it be something more concrete?
You can
Because-
just, I don't want all pictures. Yes, you can use some pictures, but make sure that your narrative work fully supports whatever the picture is. Don't just put a picture there without some good narrative work to support what that picture is about and why it can serve as your artifact.
Okay, and then emails and documents that were used are also acceptable too, correct?
Exactly. And you can have more than one artifact for a competency. You know, if you've got an email and you've got a picture, then by all means, you use both of them. You know,
Thank you.
because remember, this is it's your portfolio, so you want it to look as professional and as complete as you possibly can. Okay, Evangela?
When we submit the folio by Sunday, is that kind of how we did with the test screen where, I mean, with the other tests where the next week, if you need to make corrections, you can, or is it kind of what you turn in is kind of what you get?
If it's not right, we're going to tell you, but now don't waste our time and put something in there that you know is not going to be accepted. Okay? So just make sure that you put quality stuff in there the first time. It's a review. It doesn't go for evaluation until the end of this whole program. It's just that we're putting them in there for review at this point. But you have to get all 21 of them cleared by the end of this semester to get credit for your internship. Does that help?
That's fine. I was just wondering, just in case, I put something in there and that's not,
Yeah, if it's not right, we're going to give you a chance to fix it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll tell you to fix it and send it back to us. Sherry.
You had it right the first time, Cherie.
Cherie, okay.
Quick question for the competency. So the competencies are going to be completed on the actual platform, correct? As like we're putting information, it's not like a Word document or anything like that. It's straight into the platform attached
Yeah,
screen, correct?
that's right. You put it in that competency folio that you have built.
So, and you all will be able to go in and see all that.
Yes, ma'am. We will go in. You will, Cherie, you will actually click my name for me to look at your work, to review your work. It'll give you names to choose from. You will choose my name.
Okay. Second question for your, the competencies. Are we able to use examples that we used in our AAPTEL as far as the competencies? So like if there is something that we did that matched the competency that's in there, can we just simply, copy and paste that, add a picture,
Yes.
such like whatever to support it?
Yes.
Along with that, instead of like, I feel like it's a repeat or a duplication of something.
Yes,
Is that okay to do?
You can do that, yes.
Yes, in fact, I encourage you to use as much as you can from the AAPTEL.
Right.
Okay, so it's just, we won't have to do a whole do-over like with the competencies part.
It shouldn't, no.
You-
And you'll need to pull some from your clinical experiences as well.
Correct.
But Cherie, you'll have a lot of it already. You should have a lot of it already built into the work that you've done.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Ursula, you had your hand up.
Yes, but she just answered it because that's what I was wondering where those artifacts were going to be coming from, and if they could come from our internship as well, because that's what I was thinking
Yes,
about for
ma'am.
some of those competencies. Okay,
That's
thank you.
right. Right. Kenya? Kenya, can you hear me?
Yes, I did. It was a little, I think I'm having some type of lag because you're going in and out, but they asked the exact same questions that I was going to ask. Thank you.
Okay, good. Latasha, do you have a question?
Yes, I did, but it was the it was the
Same
exact
thing,
same
okay, gotcha.
question.
Okay,
But I'm okay. So we can use the exact 12 that we did in APTEL.
you can use, but you're not going to just copy and paste that. Remember, you've got to have artifacts. It will be that 12. Now, if you use the narrative work from that, then you've got to provide an artifact for each of those 12. You didn't have an artifact when you did the APSL.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Katie.
One thing is, what was I going to ask? I forgot. Oh, if it says met 1 of 3 on the competency portfolio, does that mean it's good?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm pretty short and sweet on that feedback.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And I just realized that I accidentally sent one for review that I didn't do, so I resent the correct one with the additional one to you.
Okay, great.
And
Okay,
Now,
and when we go in the system, it will tell us that we have something new to look at. So
now let me caution you and just remind you of the Dale Lamb rule of thumb. We don't want to see the same artifact used more than twice. The whole for all of them, all the way through your program.
right.
So, for example, you could use your action plan to demonstrate delegation. Yes. You could use your action plan to demonstrate visionary. Yes. You could even use your APSL plan to demonstrate creativity, but you can't because you can only use it twice. Okay.
And I would try not to even use it twice. Be as creative as you can, and pull from you can, but remember that this is going to be a marketing tool for you at some point. So you want as much diversity in your work as you possibly can give it. Okay. Okay, DeAndre.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure, is it possible for us to use some of the artifacts from our appendix?
Your appendices, yes, you should have some things in there that you can use. Just like remember in your appendices, your email is in your appendices. You've got minutes that you can use, agendas that can be used, that's in your appendices. I'm just using those for an example.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Racine.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. So
okay.
on the folio, when we are sending it for your review, Dr. Stedman, are we clicking on the request comments tab?
Yes.
Is that how you're able to? Okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, Cherie, did we answer your question? Your hand's still raised.
Sorry, I'm gonna put it down.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, have we answered everybody's questions? So you know what to do. And again, it's going to take a little bit of time, but don't make this harder than it needs to be. It's not a hard task. You should already have most of that work, if not all of it, already there. You've just got to locate it and you've got to put it in there. Like I said, several students have already completed it, and so I think honestly, Dr. Revis, if you would sit down and just concentrate on it uninterrupted for a couple of hours, you probably can get most of this done in a couple of hours.
Exactly. Just make yourself a plan. List your competencies on a piece of paper and decide what artifacts you're going to pull from. And again, you should already have them. The hardest ones, or the ones I think that people struggle with the most, are the ones from your clinical hours, because you don't always think about artifacts when you're doing those activities. So, just think about what you can use. And if it says APSL, pull from your APSL. It's already been done.
Mhm.
Okay?
Okay. Angela, you have another question? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was muted. My question is about the, are we just taking a screenshot from our APSL to show that, our score to turn it in?
Say that again now.
I'm sorry, I was working on headphones and with the final of our APSL and it says take a screenshot. So are we taking a screenshot and just submitting it to the discussion board to show our
No.
score?
You put not in discussion boards, you have to put it in. There's a place for your final,
Okay.
screenshot.
But we do take a screenshot and
Yes,
just.
you do, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Preston, unmute yourself and say what you just put in the box.
So I just confirmed that the October 5th video is the one where Dr. Lamb and Revis showed us step by step how to
That's it. Yes, that's it, Preston. Yes.
And it was super easy.
Yeah.
Then, so that might be helpful for everybody just to refer back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway.
Thanks, Preston, for that reminder. Okay. DeAndre, do you have another question? DeAndre? I think not. Okay, guys. I think you're good to go until Thursday night. And again, I think after we've given you a lot tonight, but then I think after Thursday night, I think it'll be a clear picture for you. I really do think so. Okay. And again, you've got a couple of weeks to get a lot done. Okay. Yolanda, you have a question?
I have a question, but not about this. Is it okay if I ask Dr. Revis a question after the class is dismissed?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night. You
Hey, Dr. Revis.
Hey, I know what you're gonna ask me.
Yes, ma'am.
That Turnitin report came through. My internet's down. I come home tonight. This is the second time in 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I will try to see if I can, you can't see the report.
Okay.
I see it, but let me look right quick.
Okay. So the evaluator can see it too?
Dr. Revis, what are you
No.
looking for? Can I find it, Dr. Revis?
I don't know if you go in and look at, I don't think you can look at her Turnitin report. Can you?
No, I can go into task stream and pull up.
Yeah.
If it's gone that far, but I can't go into your
Yeah,
Turnitin, no.
Yolanda, the first time you uploaded it, I got an error message.
Okay.
And you uploaded it again, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I have not, it wasn't there this morning.
Okay.
And if my internet comes back up, I will look at it this evening. But
Okay.
you won't be able to see it. Only I can see it.
Okay.
And then I will email you. I will email you and tell you if you're ready or you got a problem. But I'm sure you're going to be fine.
Okay. And you
All
got my
right.
email where it said it gave me a ticket saying that it was uploaded or downloaded.
Okay.
I sent that
Well,
to I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, I saw that email, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything this morning when I went to grade my work.
Okay. Okay. So you'll let me know. I might have to upload it again.
You might have to. I don't know.
Oh my.
And Dr. Rev, that's not the end of the world, though. That's not the end of the world, Yolanda. If she has to, don't worry about it. Dr. Revis, what you can do is you can go into Blackboard and you can cancel what she submitted so that she can do it again.
Okay, I did that one time
You did, okay.
and she uploaded it again. Yeah. But Yolanda, we'll work through it. Don't panic, okay?
Okay. Just check my email tomorrow morning.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just check your email tomorrow morning. But understand, if I don't have my internet, I don't know that I can go in and look on my phone.
Okay.
I'll try.
Do you want me
I'll
to
try,
do you want me
okay?
to email you my paper?
No,
Oh,
it won't do me any good.
Hey,
oh, that's right. Oh.
Dr. Revis, have you
Yeah.
got Yolanda's phone number?
I sure do. Yolanda, I've got 910-995-8217.
Yes. Can I email you?
Yeah.
You want me to give you my work number? Because sometimes my
No,
cell number
listen,
doesn't work.
she's gonna call you tonight. Dr. Revis, when you get done, I'm gonna call you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Yolanda.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.